Synchronicity. It's usually thought of as a meaningful coincidence. And Carl Jung originated the term synchronicity. He said, quote, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those with eyes to see," end quote. I tend to think that that's true as well. But using Jung's lexicon, quote, "Synchronicity is a phenomenon where something in the outer world coincides meaningfully with a psychological state of mind," end quote. So if that's true, what is that phenomenon? Is it the, quote, universe, God, higher self, ourself speaking to us or through us or giving us a sign or, as I used to say, a cosmic wink? Is synchronicity self-created as opposed to something that is created outside of ourself? Is it a meeting and interaction of both inner and outer? Can we create these meaningful coincidences, or do we create them? Does our brain process information into these meaningful coincidences? About 10 years ago, I had a blog called Synchronicity on WordPress, and I had posted part of an article on this topic that was titled Rethinking Synchronicity by Dr. Kirby Surprise. Yes, that is apparently his real surname, Surprise. Not unlike synchronicity, it's usually a nice surprise, right? And not to mention, probably many an unplanned baby have the name Surprise. I need a little, drum thing. I forget what you call it. Ba-da-bump. So, Dr. Surprise said, quote, "Our reality is literally a massively simplified construction of the patterns our brain thinks is most important at any given moment," end quote. So, to elaborate, he said, quote, "The brain deletes most information before it reaches consciousness and often alters our sensory information, filling in gaps and highlighting patterns it believes are important," end quote. So my interpretation of that is that we live with an edited version of what we perceive from so-called reality. Of all the potentiality in the, quote, outer experience, our brain processes, eliminates, and sorts what it believes to be most important at any given moment. And that's interesting. I was a psych major in college, and that does seem to be the case from what I remember learning in what was really a fascinating course on brain physiology and functioning. So what our brains seem to do really well is find meaning between patterns and events. In other words, quote, meaningful coincidence. But how it organizes that input may not be 100% accurate. I suspect that could also relate to the phenomenon of false memory. But yeah, that's another topic for another time. Dr. Surprise said, "We have an amazing ability. Quote, your thoughts and feelings, your memories and experiences are reproduced in the events around you as coincidences. The world shapes itself around your thoughts, presenting you with meaningful coincidences based on your inner life. Everyone creates their own synchronistic events constantly." End quote. So that would mean that we aren't always in tune with it or tuned into that particular station, so to speak, but that when we are more in tune or tuned in with it is when we experience synchronicity more often. So Surprise believes we have the ability to create what we perceive as synchronicity, as meaningful coincidence, and that synchronistic events are simply, interestingly, our own beliefs and thoughts mirrored back to us. But that doesn't mean it's imagined or it's not real. In fact, in an interview, Dr. Surprise said, quote, "Synchronistic events are objectively real, absolutely 100% real, but they're a mirror. So when I say that what you're seeing is subjective. I'm not saying that these are parlor tricks the brain does on you. I'm saying that both your psychodynamic projections and the mirroring effect are real and they're external. They're actually out there, and you are actually changing the environment that you're in by 3% to 6%. End quote. He's saying that he believes we have the potential and power to actually change our environment, and that synchronicity is both internal and external. So that is something to ponder, something to muse on, something to think about. Can we shape our experience of the universe according to the thoughts we choose? Is synchronicity an outer or an inner phenomenon, or a combination of both? What do you think about it, about synchronicity? Let me know in the comment section, and until next time, maybe keep an eye out for these meaningful coincidences or these cosmic or otherwise wink winks.